Hello and welcome to Matt's Reloading Bench. Time for part 2 of the AR-15 deep cleaning. I've already got the barrel clean. Now it's time to move on to the rest of the upper. Alright, so the next step is going to be breaking down all this stuff, and I'm going to be cleaning it using my Ultrasonic cleaner. For the bolt carrier group, I will take that down. Got my barrel nut, and then the two centering pieces for the forearm. And then I've got my gas block. Then I've got my gas piston, which I will have to clean by hand because it's too long to fit into the sonic cleaner and basket. And then my charging handle I will also clean by hand. Now, for this, you got to make sure that you use the Hornady one-shot gun parts formula. If you use the brass cleaning formula, I found out firsthand, it'll turn all of your parts like a rose golden color. You don't want to do that. This solution works pretty good, so you don't have to use a lot of it. So I'm going to go ahead, get the heat going on here. I'm going to let it get up to temp, and then I'll dunk the basket and let it run for a good half hour. Alright, so one thing that I ended up doing is I completely broke down the bolt face, and I completely broke down the upper. I took off the dust cover and the forward assist because I just want to make sure that every nook and cranny is clean. If I'm going this far, I might as well go all the way. As you can see, I've got everything labeled for what needs to go where, so that way I can keep track of my small parts. The big stuff is fairly easy to keep track of because it's not like you can confuse one part for another. But with the small things, with all the roll pins and the tiny springs and stuff like that, if you don't know what you're doing, you can become easily confused as to what goes where. And sometimes, even if you do know what you're doing, say I'm not able to come back to this and finish this up until next week, at least I've got everything laid out where it needs to be, so that way it takes any guesswork out. And I can look at the labels that I have on my sticky notes and the parts that are sitting on top of them and know what they are for. All right, so I've got this warmed up, and I'm going to go ahead and drop my parts basket. And we are going to get this started. Now, as you can see, there's already tons of debris and dirt and grime lifting off these parts in this sonic cleaner. It's very efficient to get the real heavy crap off, and then to take a regular toothbrush afterwards and just scrub down all the outer surfaces, and then I'll hit all the inner surfaces with Q-tips and other scraping tools if need be. So I'm going to let this run for the full half hour, and I will start to pull my parts out and see how they all look. So it ran for half an hour, and let's have a look. Man, look at that. That is nasty. Can't even see in there. I see tons of stuff floating on top. So I'm just going to kind of dip it a few times. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to kind of just scrub everything with a cleaning brush, just in case there's any gritty stuff that's still left on there. Then I've got these very large cotton swab that I'm going to use to clean the inside. So as you can see, there is some remnants of dirt left in there. But for the majority of the bulk of it, not bad at all, really. Not bad at all. So I'm going to leave this part off to the side. One thing that I'm going to do with all these parts after I'm done scrubbing them is I'm going to rinse them all in fresh water. So this is the barrel nut. This is my gas piston adjuster. Now for this one here, I'm going to try and find a very small brass brush. Stand by. So as you can see, I've got small holes there. There's a small hole here, and then we've got the inside of that tubing there. So I'm going to see if I can clean that out at all. Yeah, there's plenty of crap in there. You know what? I'm going to cheat. I am going to put this brass brush into my drill. We're going to hyper clean this sucker. Alright, that should be pretty gosh darn good. Gonna get some Q-tips. Gonna clean this out real nice. And the gas port. It's actually not too bad. Now, this is going to be the hard part. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a buccal swab in there. So, one thing I will do is take some Freol, put it in the gas port. We'll just let that set off to the side. Alright, got the gas block itself. Now this is an adjustable gas block. So I don't know if you can see, but on this is the face that would be facing back towards you when it's on the rifle. And up here, there is a crap ton of carbon buildup. So I'm going to have to take a brass scraper and we will get that off of there. I got this really nice clean and scrape kit made by Real Avid, and I really like it a lot. It's a really good kit. I believe it's only like $25 or $30. I'm not exactly sure on that, but worth every cent. I use it all the time now, ever since I got it. And I've got my bronze bristled brush here that I'm going to use to really scrub this down. That is actually looking really freaking good. So I will set that off to the side. Firing pin pretty much completely cleans itself in the Sonic cleaner. I don't have to do any scrubbing on that at all. The second forearm mount. And yes, I am fully aware that I am probably not using correct terminology for all of these parts. Offhand, don't know what it's called. I suppose that would be on me to be better educated about the parts that I am working with. But just because you don't know what it's called offhand doesn't mean I don't know where it's for and what it does. Now that is pretty gnarly. The firing pin channel in this bolt face is pretty gummed up, which honestly doesn't surprise me, considering that I haven't torn this completely apart in a very long time, and that's why I'm doing it now. With that being said, with the rifle being this dirty, I've never had any major malfunctions with it. Alright, now that I've got everything rinsed off, I'm going to go ahead, put it onto my dryer that I use, which is honestly just a food dehydrator. Does the same thing, nothing really different. I'm not going to sit there and spend all that kind of money on you know, Hornady or RCVS parts dryers. I just don't see the point. Alright, so I will leave that run for about a good 2 hours because I want to make sure that everything is completely dry inside and out before I start messing around with any type of reassembly and or lubrication. Alright, now that everything has been through the parts dryer, I'm going to just put them all off to the side. So the next thing I need to do is I need to oil all the surfaces because you don't want to leave this just air dried without any oil or anything like that, because if for whatever reason there is any bare metals exposed from underneath the finish, an issue that you can start to have is rust and corrosion. So every single part will be coated in gun oil. For this, I'll be using HOPPE'S gun oil. I'll just squirt some onto a rag. And just wipe down all the surfaces. And then I'll take a dry rag and wipe off all the excess. All right, and that looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with all of the parts here. Now that those are wiped down, the next step is going to start putting specific groups of parts back together. So I will be putting back together the upper receiver. I will put together the bolt carrier group. I'll reassemble the gas block. All right, so I've got the forward assist back in. So the next step is going to be putting the dust cover back on. So I was able to pull it out from the back to the front. To put it in, it's going to be easier to go in from the back to the front instead of replacing it the opposite of how it came out. The reason being is this spring is going to be a real son of a gun. So I will get that started, and then I'm going to take this leaf here and fold it all the way around and get it in that groove of the dust cover, you see, and then I can push the pin forward and through. Now there's that little groove, and you got this little C-lock. going to take my needle nose here and just push it back in, maybe. Alright, got it started. Now I'm going to finish it by clamping it down. Alright, so it's locked into that channel, and that's it. That prevents the pin from backing out this way. So the dust cover is now on, just how it should be, and it operates just how it should. Okay, so for now we're going to take this and just put it off to the side. Next step is going to be reassembling the bolt face. To do so, the first thing I'm going to do is put back in the ejector pin. All right, so first you need to have the ejector pin spring, and then the ejector pin itself. Now, if you look at this, I don't know how well you can see, but it's got this groove in there, okay? That's what allows it to be locked in place with a lock pin, and it can still travel in and out, okay? You got to make sure that you put it in the right way. The longer post should be out, okay? So it will go in just like so. All right, now I'm going to get the roll pin started, and then I will have to hold this in and get the roll pin in the rest of the way. To do so, I have my roll pin punch, okay? I put it through, and I will back it out just a little bit. Get this started. All right, it started. The pin is being held into place. I've got about halfway left to go. So now I don't have the proper armorer's block for doing this, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. But we'll tap her in the rest of the way. I just want to check and make sure that this functions the way that it should, and it moves freely, no issue. So now I'm going to move on and get the extractor reinstalled. For that, there is this little spring on a plug that's got to go in this inset. There we go, it snaps in. And then it comes with this little rubber washer that goes over it like so. All right, now this will go in here. Here's the lock pin, and it literally just pushes in, no force needed. So now I just want to check and make sure that my extractor has room to flex, and it does. The bolt face is now reassembled and ready to go. All right, one thing that I want to do before reassembling the bolt carrier group is I want to lubricate all of the interior parts where I know that there's going to be interacting pieces, so that I don't have any unwanted or unnecessary wear. All right, so to put this together, I'm going to go ahead and put the bolt face into the bolt. Then I'll put in the bolt cam pin. And then install the firing pin. And then your firing pin retaining pin. The next step is going to be fastening the barrel to the upper. That is all that I can fit into this video. So stick around, there will be a third video coming out, and that's going to be the complete reassembly of the rifle. If you have any questions, please let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Also, give it that thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you like my video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so that you can get a notification when the next video does come out. Until next time, shoot straight and be safe.